Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
A call for economic citizenship programs in the Eastern Caribbean to be more transparent. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, January 13. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Citizenship by Investment Programs, CIPS, in the sub-region have recently been the subject of criticism. And Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Timothy Antoine, is urging Caribbean governments to be more transparent. He's also calling or advising them not to use the funds collected from the program to fund their recurrent expenditure. Several Eastern Caribbean countries offer investors citizenship in exchange for a substantial investment. And Antoine tells government transparency is vital.
First of all, we say be transparent by publishing all of the flows, the ins and the outs of the fund. We believe that's extremely important for people to know how much is collected, how it is spent. So we welcome the efforts of the government to establish in the budget, in the last budget, specifically how much is coming from CBI and what it is being spent on. We think that's important. And we also believe that we've suggested a template that can be used to publish this information on a regular basis. So anybody here, home or abroad, can see this information and understand what is happening with the program.
With only a few days to go in his presidency, U.S. President Barack Obama has announced the end to the long-standing wet-foot, dry-foot policy that grants residency to Cubans who arrive in the U.S. without visas. In exchange, Havana has agreed to accept Cubans who have been deported from the U.S. In a televised statement, the Cuban government praised the movement that was announced Thursday as an important step in advancing relations between the two countries. The Cold War-era policy allowed Cuban migrants who reach U.S. soil to become legal permanent residents after a year. It has only been applicable to Cubans. Other immigrants who arrive in the U.S. without a visa could be arrested and deported. Meantime, the Bahamas, which is often used as a transit point for Cubans trying to make it to the U.S., has welcomed the end of the wet-foot, dry-foot policy. Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Fred Mitchell said the Perry Christie administration had always been of the view that the policy was driving the rise in illegal Cuban landings in the Bahamas.
We hope that it dries up the pool of migrants coming into the Bahamas from Cuba. I think people would realize that during the last few weeks, I guess in the period of December to now, we've had scores of people coming. And one wonders whether or not now we always thought that this is what was driving it, that they thought that the policy was coming to an end and everybody was trying to beat the deadline, even though one had not been announced. And we certainly were unaware that any change was coming. But I'm advised that this is a policy, not a law or regulation, so it can be done by the U.S. president, simply by saying that that's what we intend to do. We intend to stop.
That was Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Fred Mitchell. Over in Trinidad and Tobago now, there are concerns about job losses as a result of government's deal with the Oil Workers Trade Union, the OWTU, that will see workers at state-owned oil company Petrotrin getting a 5% pay increase. This after Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley announced the company would have to be restructured in order to survive. Petrotrin said in a statement issued Thursday that it's working with all parties to align its strategic plans. We get more in this report from Uvashi Tawari Rupnarayan of CNC3 News.
I would have said to the union, I'm not changing my offer. These are the things that we have to do. These are the things we have to talk about in future. Listen, 000 is in fact a good offer in the context of job losses.
It's what this former minister in the Ministry of Finance would have done had he been in Colm Imbert's seat. In describing Dr. Rowley's speech as contradictory, Mariano Brown says it's all puppeteering.
The PNM signed an agreement with the JTUM prior to the election. And all this is payback. And what we have is a veneer and a cover and an attempt to justify what was stupidness.
He describes Petrotrin as a company in deep mess. Mr. Brown says international investors will not be interested in a company being bailed out by the state. It's a point reiterated by his predecessor.
Normally you privatize when a company is doing well, where you want to make sure you get the best price for the asset, etc. So I'm not quite sure at this stage, unless of course because of the heavy debt, they may look at a partner to come into business.
Christine Sahadeo suspects that as stakeholders deliberate the company's turnaround, the question of job cuts will arise.
I think the challenge is there for the management and unions that really we need the right number of workers.
But for a company which took years to wind up in its present condition, there's no overnight solution. So what did the PM's speech really say? For that, we turn to political analyst Dr. Mukesh Basdeo. But government, he says, would be wary of any decision with Petrotrin for fear of political backlash.
And Petrotrin is basically the jewel in the crown, if we put it in this context, of the state, and we call the state coffer. But I think what we are positioning is that the 20th century is going to be a very difficult period for Trinidad and Tobago.
But even for this political analyst, the fate of TNT's only oil refinery is all a matter of dollars and cents.
Can the country continue afford $20 billion to actually bail out Petrotrin?
The answer may very well have to come from the Minister of Finance.
Meantime, about 200 employees at RBC Royal Bank in the Twin Island Republic are facing retrenchment. We get more from Judy Kanhai of CNC3 News.
It's the first wave of job cuts for 2017. Some 200 workers of Canadian-owned banking giant RBC being retrenched, as the company appears to be downsizing its operations by merging several of its branches across the country. In a statement to CNC3, RBC told us they have offered attractive voluntary separation and voluntary early retirement packages to specific groups of employees. They say the packages will help affected workers make a personal choice about their future. We asked RBC how many of its employees have been offered VSEP, but the bank tells us it will not disclose that detail. Highly placed sources, however, tell CNC3 up to 200 people could be affected in the first quarter of 2017. But CNC3 understands that not all of the employees affected actually qualify for VSEP because some are listed as contract workers. RBC is insisting the streamlining of its operations is needed to transform its operations, adding that the bank will not be defined solely by its physical presence, but as an organization with an accessible multi-channel distribution network. Meanwhile, President of the Banking, Insurance and General Workers Union, Vincent Cabrera, says his union is aware the bank has offered VSEP and other packages to workers. While BIGU is not the official union for the workers, Cabrera says it has been trying for the past 5 years to represent the workers, but the union has not been given the clearance. But he says BIGU has been handling the workers' industrial relations issues.
The government of Jamaica has rejected the UK government's offer to help build a modern prison on the island. Former British Prime Minister David Cameron had made the offer during his visit to the island in 2015. The then opposition leader, Andrew Holness, said at the time that he would have preferred the £25 million that would be spent on a prison to be used to build schools. Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith told legislators that the terms the UK put on the table were not beneficial to Jamaica as a whole, and so government have rejected the offer. In October 2015, the Ministry of National Security under the People's National Party administration had sought to highlight the benefits of the UK prison deal to the local prison population. It said then that the new facility would provide relief for inmates who have endured overcrowded and unsatisfactory conditions at the country's correctional centers. And coming up in Caribbean Newsline, a cabinet minister in Grenada resigns. The detail when we return. Stay with us.
Welcome to my island. Welcome to my Caribbean island. Welcome to my island.
Maybe in my next life, I'll become a golfer.
Round Hay Pharmacy now has 2 locations to fill your prescriptions promptly and efficiently. Our branch at One Accord Plaza is open daily, including Sundays and bank holidays. Also, check out our new drive-through location at Warren's Healthcare Complex in Michael, the first and only drive-through pharmacy in Barbados. For more information, call Round Hay One Accord Plaza at 421-7863 and our new drive-through branch at Warren's in Michael at 424-5574.
In Grenada, the minister responsible for the promotion of the Citizenship by Investment program has resigned. Alexandra Otway-Noel announced her decision in a Facebook post on Friday. But CMC News has been informed that neither the Office of the Prime Minister, the Cabinet Secretary, nor the Office of the Governor-General has received a letter of resignation. Efforts to reach Otway-Noel by telephone have so far proven futile. In a Facebook post, she said she had resigned to pursue a number of exciting opportunities in the private sector and agreed to ensure a smooth transition to her successor. She described working with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell as a privilege and an honor, adding that in her role as Minister of Tourism, she oversaw a number of high-profile initiatives, including the rebranding of the country as Pure Grenada, Spice of the Caribbean, on the global tourism market. Over to Haiti now. Guy Philippe, the former Haitian rebel turned politician, pleaded not guilty to charges of drug smuggling and money laundering when he appeared in a U.S. federal court on Friday. Philippe was extradited 1 week ago from Haiti to face the allegations. When he appeared in court, he was greeted by dozens of supporters who packed the federal courthouse. His attorney says for now, she is not seeking Philippe's release on bail, but may revisit the issue in the future. However, prosecutors want him to remain in custody. The case has not yet been set for trial. The charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. According to the indictment, from approximately 1997 to 2001, Philippe conspired with others to import more than 5 kilograms of cocaine into the United States. Ever since Philippe's extradition on January 5, supporters of the newly elected senator have been staging daily demonstrations demanding his return. Meantime, now most of the schools in the Grenans department, which Philippe was elected to represent, remain closed, with parents keeping their children at home as a result of the street protests. The director of the Department of Education, Jean-Marcel Gentil, says the students have already been placed at a disadvantage following the passage of Hurricane Matthew last October, and the closure this week has led to a further disruption of their studies. He says he planned to meet with the police to discuss how they could ensure the safety of the children in order to allow the resumption of school. In Guyana now, officials say human trafficking is on the rise, and new social protection minister is promising strong action to curb the scourge.
Guyana and affected Guyanese families can ill afford to have its precious human resources and loved ones languishing as powerless victims of such an evil practice. This government will work assiduously to ensure perpetrators are found, arrested, charged, tried in the court of law, and jailed.
Many victims of human trafficking are lured by glossy promises, not only in the interior, but also on the coastland, resulting in 103 reported cases during the first 10 months of 2016.
The bitter truth is that the available statistics on human trafficking in Guyana have shown an increase in the number of reported cases and alleged victims between 2015 and 2016.
The Minister of Social Protection has issued a call to all to be aware of the signs of human trafficking.
And that report from Calvin Chapman of HGP Nightly News. And ahead in Newsline Sport, the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association is facing some questions following the resignation of the Soca Warriors head coach. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
Round Hay Pharmacy now has 2 locations to fill your prescriptions promptly and efficiently. Our branch at One Accord Plaza is open daily, including Sundays and bank holidays. Also, check out our new drive-through location at Warren's Healthcare Complex in Michael, the first and only drive-through pharmacy in Barbados. For more information, call Round Hay One Accord Plaza at 421-7863 and our new drive-through branch at Warren's in Michael at 424-5574.
Jamaicans have been rapping for a very long time, from even the late 90s come up to now. The current incarnation of the movement has been from, I would say, mid-2000s, right? So you talk about 03, 04, from you have Gambling House Recording Studio. And what we're doing is we're staking a claim for the genre. That's First Coast Yard Rap. So we said, look, hashtag pay attention. Follow it at PayAttentionJA on Twitter, Instagram, all of that.
We begin our sports package with football. There's a call for the technical committee of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association to explain why national head coach Tom Saintfiet was hired when it was known he lacked the qualifications to take TNT to another World Cup. It comes from independent sports journalist Lasana Liebert and former national football midfielder Angus Eve. They spoke to C Sports' Kent Fuentes, who filed this report.
Tom Saintfiet resigned a month and 3 days after becoming national team coach. With a record of 1 win and 3 defeats, those in the footballing fraternity are asking why a coach whose resume indicated he lacked the experience of leading a team in World Cup qualifying was hired in the first place.
And the technical committee passed on a short list of coaches. I think there were 4 or 5 coaches to John Williams, but he was the only person to actually speak to them and came back and said, well, listen, the only man who is available, the only man who is affordable here on this list is Tom Saintfiet. I do think the technical committee has to take some blame for sure, a lot of the blame for this appointment. But I wouldn't take John Williams out of it altogether, because the fact is when the name went to the board to select a coach, the only name given to the board was Tom Saintfiet.
This was a view shared by Angus Eve.
So are we preparing to fail all the time? And these are the questions. And this technical committee must answer these questions, not David John Williams, because he has consistently said that the technical committee picked the coaches. So this technical committee must come forward and say what were the criteria for picking these coaches.
Both men also agree that St. Feet's approach and interaction with his players did him no favors.
I think he created a lot of his own problems during his stint in Trinidad and Tobago. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't make a matter of him or anything. Really, he had a shot, and he didn't impress his players terribly. I don't think he didn't impress a lot of people in administration and so on. And with his poor resume starting off, I think a lot of things were against him.
There's no international manager chastises his players as he did in public. These players, he would want them to come back and play for him. And I think he realized that all things being equal, these players would not, man management is a very important part of coaching. And he did not have a good impression on the players, not just the ones who he chastised, but their friends who they grew up playing with and being a part of the team. And somebody else wouldn't want that for themselves.
President of the Barbados Football Association, Randy Harris, has welcomed the decision by World Football Governing Body FIFA to increase the number of teams participating in the World Cup finals. FIFA announced this week that an additional 16 teams will be added to the 2026 tournament, bringing the total to 48. Now, Harris says this gives Caribbean countries a greater chance of qualifying for the global tournament.
The greatest thing for football in the recent past, especially for the Caribbean and CONCACAF. It will mean that the more countries in the Caribbean should have a better chance of qualifying for the World Cup. It is not beyond our reach. As you know, both Jamaica and Trinidad have had qualified already with the 32 teams, and I believe that going to 48 should give us 2 or 3 more places, and if we work hard, it is possible that more teams from the Caribbean could be playing in the world.
Harris added that he believes with the proper programs and effort, Barbados could have a shot at a spot.
President of the Barbados Football Association, my dream really is to make it to the World Cup. But I think seriously that if we put a program together starting from now, with say on the 13th, on the 15th, and on the 17th, and we can have proper direction and the experiences of people who have been there before, helping us to work a program, we should be able to get there.
Over to the sport of cricket now. Red Force captain Dinesh Ramdan is confident about the team claiming its 3rd regional Super 50 title, although it will step into the competition without some of its marquee players. In this report from TV6's Vinod Nawani, Ramdan says he's hopeful the replacements show good form in their opening Group A match against Woodward Islands Volcanoes on January 27 in Antigua.
Defending champions Trinidad and Tobago will be led by Dinesh Ramdan for the 2017 edition of the Regional Super 50 tournament. And for the 31-year-old who has been training religiously, it is indeed an honor to be in charge of Team Red Force.
Yeah, it's good to represent my country, Trinidad and Tobago. At the same time, it's a young bunch of guys, and we're going out there to do our best. We are defending champions. We have been putting in a lot of hard work in the last week and a half leading up to this tournament. It's going to be a hard tournament. Being the defending champions, a lot of the team has been looking at us, gunning for us. They're going to come hard, and we need to play some good cricket throughout the tournament.
Even though TNT are without the Bravo brothers, Dwayne and Darren, as well as Kyron Pollard, Sunil Narain, Lendl Simmons and Samuel Badri, Ramdan says the others in the team must bring on their A-game so that Team Red Force can achieve a hat-trick of titles.
It's always difficult to not have those guys at the disposal to go out there and win tournaments with their experience. But the younger players will have to step up. They did it last year. And hopefully you can come this year and put in a better show than they did last year. Myself, Ravi Rampol, Shannon Gabriel, and the senior players like Jason Mohammed who has to take the battle of the batting mantle Young Evan Lewis at the top of the order, he has to do it as well.
Looking at the other teams, Ramden is taking none of them for granted, saying they are all well-balanced sides. And what goals has he set for himself?
To go there and help the team win, which is most important, whatever role I have to play. Batting in the middle order, try to bat as deep as possible, put our team in good position, try to put good totals on the board because we are a very good bowling lineup. And lead from in front by example with my experience and stuff.
TNT are grouped alongside English County Kent, Leeward Islands Hurricanes, West Indies Under-19s and Windward Islands Volcanoes.
Moving over to athletics now, Jamaican track and field legend Usain Bolt and compatriot Elaine Thompson are among the nominees for the prestigious Laureus World Sports Awards. Bolt has been nominated for the World Sportsman of the Year and Thompson has made the cut for the World Sportswoman of the Year. Bolt, a three-time winner of the World Sportsman of the Year award, successfully defended his Olympic 100 meters, 200 meters and 4x100 meter relay titles to leave Rio as one of the biggest heroes of the 2016 Olympic Games. Rio Olympics 5,000 and 10,000 meters champion Mo Farah and tennis gold medal winner Andy Murray have also been shortlisted along with football megastar Ronaldo and NBA basketball superstars LeBron James and Stephen Curry. Thompson is of the 6 Olympic champions nominated for Sportswoman of the Year award. The 24-year-old Jamaican became a household name following her commanding sprint double capture of the 100 and 200 meter titles in Rio. It is her first nomination for the award. The contest for the Sportswoman of the Year award also promises to be very competitive. Challenging her a trio of Americans, gymnast Simone Biles, swimmer Katie Ledeck, and quarter-miler silver medalist Allyson Felix, as well as world tennis #1 Angelique Kerber of Germany and British cyclist Laura Kenny. And of course, Carib Vision will bring you live coverage of the Laureus Award beginning at 9:30 Eastern Caribbean time. And the former Olympic champion is in the Caribbean this weekend to help boost an athletic program. 4-time Olympic gold medalist Michael Johnson and his company, Michael Johnson Performance, have collaborated with the Cayman Islands Olympic Committee to carry out structural changes to the program to achieve long-term success. Johnson highlighted some of the areas where the Cayman Islands can achieve greatness in the future.
Important is to have coaches and practitioners, whether they be trainers, nutritionists, mental skills coaches, sports psychologists, injury prevention specialists, and training programs that allow athletes to develop over their lifetime. And so this is not a quick, sort of short approach. It's a long-term athletic development approach.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Everybody knows the song Ale Ale, but they don't know that's French.
Yeah.
French for what?
It means go, it means to move. Ale has always been there, it's always been a word, but it's just how you decide to use it. For me, I wanted to take it from a motivational point. You can be in a block with your boys and Ale, 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 go. Yeah. But I wanted to do it like so many things you want to do in your life when people try to, deter you from your goal and from your dream.
Somebody sing the song for me. Welcome to my island. Welcome to my Caribbean island. Welcome to my island.
Maybe in my next life, I'll become a golfer.
Again, the major developments of this day. The governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank calls for economic citizenship programs in the sub-region to become more transparent. And in sport, the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association asked to explain why Tom St. Feet was hired as national coach when he didn't even have the qualifications. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock. Log on to CondaNews.com. We'll be back here again on Monday. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.